Hey guys, are you looking for a secure, organized way to mount all your gear on your bedside without taking up all your bed? Well, look no further than our Molle accessory panel. We make them for the front bed rail as well as the side. This installation, I'm going to show you how to install this front panel. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so when you open up your package, this is kind of everything laid out. So I want to go through and show you what each thing is before we get started. The center panel is going to be the one that has the logo in it. And as you can see, it has some holes here and here. So if you're going to mount the horizontal Rotopack 4-gallon container, you're going to be using those mounting locations. The center one is for a Rotopax can go either way like that. Now we have two of the same panel, and they're basically mirrored of each other. So you're going to want to make sure they're opposite directions when they're installed. And there's some things going on with these panels. If you notice, there's these slotted holes here and here. Those are going to be for the track mounts. So if you want to do like recovery boards, so Max Tracks or Tread Pro boards, these are going to be those mounts right here. So you can flip these things. Basically, the whole panel can be assembled one way and flipped so you can mirror everything the opposite direction. I'm going to set everything up so that the recovery boards go in the bottom left corner. And then from here, each panel has the Rotopax mounts that you can flip either way, so you can mount 3 cans if you want. And then we also have this slot here, which is also going to be used for the high lift jack. So when you go to mount your high lift jack, you're going to be using this slot on the 2 outside panels. Next, you're going to have some feet that mount to the factory body mounts, and they're going to mount through the panels and secure everything on the bottom. Next, you're going to have 3 of these brackets. They have the square holes in them. Those are going to go into the factory rail to allow us to attach the top. As of right now, we don't have a solution to go into the factory rail location without the factory rail, but look in the future, we'll probably make some sort of bracket or adapter to allow you to do that. All right, so I'm going to dump all the hardware out and kind of inventory what I have. So all the 7/16, the wing nuts, the 7/16 nuts, these 2 washers, these 2 carriage bolts, and there. This stuff is for the high lift jack, so we're going to set that there. And then from there, we need to separate these carriage bolts because these are for the top rail. And there should be 6 of those. And those are there. Then you're going to find the washers. There should be 6 washers that are going to go with these. And those are there. And 6 nuts for that. All right, so this hardware here, all these 5/8 long button head bolts are going to be to actually to bolt the panels together. Okay, it doesn't matter which way you overlap them. It can be over the top or underneath. But what you're going to want to make sure you do on the outside panels, these slots down here are used to mount to the body mounts. They have to go to the outside on both sides of the truck. So this panel is going to go here, like so. Then once again, slots to the outside. Make sure you overlap the same that you did on the other side so it matches. So I'm doing an underlap, I guess you would call it. Okay, and now this panel is together. I'm going to set it off to the side in the truck bed before we climb up into the truck. Okay, before we go and install the panel in the front of the truck, you want to kind of put some of the mounts in before, because you're not going to be able to get to the back side because this is about that far away from the bed. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the high lift jack mount holes here, but I already kind of have an idea of what I want to do for my layout. So you're going to want to lay this out before you get started so you know where your gear is going where, so you can get the right stuff in. So anyways, I'm going to use these long carriage bolts, washer, and then a nut. I'm going to go through these slots up here, like so. Put on the washer next, followed by a nut. Now we're going to leave these loose because you can see we have it slotted for adjustability because different brands of jacks have different bolt patterns. This is where I tell you to buy a high lift brand because it's the best. Don't buy garbage from Harbor Freight, please. You'll regret it in the long term. So anyways, I'm gonna leave that loose, and I can tighten that once we get the jack set up. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so using that bolt pack I talked about a little bit ago for the tread boards, I'm gonna dump that out in the bed. I'm gonna separate everything. I got 4 spacers, 4 wing nuts, 4 bolts, and 4 washers. So as you'll see, there's gonna be a slot here, a slot here, there's a slot here, here, and then on this panel, same thing, slot here, 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 and here. So now you'll be able to mount that tread board either there or offset that way. So you kind of have to pick which way you want it to go. I'm gonna offset mine to the driver's side. So same thing, we're gonna take a bolt, a washer, a nut. We're gonna put them through these slots down here. Like so, and then I'm gonna leave it loose so that I can move it around. Another one is gonna go right here. Okay, and you see we got some adjustability there, so different boards may vary. And then the next ones I'm gonna hit are gonna be on this panel right here. Okay, so we've talked about Rotopack mounts. This is the pack mount that you want to buy with your Rotopack container. You buy it from Rotopacks, and you see it has a bolt pattern here, and that is where you're going to attach here or here, depending on the orientation of your container. Or if you're using the 4-gallon can, they're going to mount here, and then the whole 4-gallon can will mount over those 2 mounts. So that's what I wanted to show you guys before we got started. I'm not going to install these during the video, but now you know how to do it. Okay, so we're going to take these 2 feet that we use to mount the bottom of the Molle panel. We're going to want to install those now before we put the panel on. Using a T55 Torx, we're going to loosen the body mounts and slide the brackets underneath. Now I made that look pretty easy, but this truck only has about 18,000 miles on it, so depending on how old your truck is, you may have to use an impact or a breaker bar to get these things loosened up. But then you're just going to loosen it up enough to slide the bracket underneath, slide the bracket underneath like so, and then push it against the back of the bed rail like that, and then onto the other side. Okay, so next we're going to prep the bed rail. So we're going to use these little spacers I showed you earlier. A carriage bolt, it's going to go through like so, and through like so. We're going to take this little cap off the bed rail. You want to store that out to the side, you don't want to lose it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slide these in and slide them down. Put one down there. The next one's pretty easy. It's going to go right in the middle. So right over that mounting location right here. And you're kind of going to guesstimate on the outside ones. We can adjust them once we get the panel up here. And then the last one goes in like so. Bring the panel up here like so. And you're going to see, you're going to line this one up. And then you're going to adjust these down so they line up with the other ones. Like that. The hardware you're going to use here is going to be flange nuts as well as washers. The washers are going to go on there to protect the serrated flange nut from ripping into the powder coat. Okay, so we're going to put the bottom mounts in. We have this whole thing still loose, so we can move it left and right and up and down, however we need to see. You want to center it with the little slot that's up here in the bed rail, kind of get it close. You're going to pull this forward like that, using a button head bolt and a nut. You're going to fish your hand back here. Okay, first we're going to want to tighten the top of the panel down before we tighten the bottom. What I like to do is I like to pull it up so that it's even with the top of this rail. And then using a 1/2-inch socket, wrench, whatever, go ahead and snug these up. So you can snug this side up, come all the way down to the other end, level it out the way you want it, and tighten this side down. And then last, the middle. Okay, so now we're just gonna let the panel hang. So we wanna make sure there's no tension on it with these mounts because we want it to just hang where it wants to go and tighten it up. So I'm gonna loosen this, get it out of my way. Using the Torx bit from earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this guy on the body mount up. Then, 3/16 Allen, you can go ahead and tighten these guys down. Onto the other side. Okay, so the panel is installed, ready to go. Don't forget to put your cap back in your rail, like so. And now we can load it full of gear. So that wraps up the installation of the front Molle accessory panel. As you can see, I have gear already on here. We talked about earlier, there's a bunch of different configurations, so make sure that you figure out where you want to do it before you install it. If you have any questions on whether your gear is going to fit our rack, just feel free to reach out to us. info@victory4x4.com or give us a call at 269-353-1184, and we hope to see you on the trail. Wait, guys, before you go. At Victory 4x4, we're always looking for ways to improve our product. So this is just going to be a general guide. Any of the changes that we may make on this product moving forward, you're going to find that up to date, current in our installation instructions, which are written on the product pages. So make sure you check that out before you do the install and just use this video as a guide. All right, you can go now.